If you're listening to this and thinking, okay, this is the year we finally buy a home, this episode is for you. Because before you make a single move this year, there's something important you need to understand. 2025 already decided how 2026 is going to feel for home buyers. Not emotionally, not hypothetically, but strategically. The buyers who paid attention last year were walking into 2026 calm, confident, and prepared. The ones who didn't, they already feel rushed. Welcome to episode 237 of the Martini Mortgage Podcast. Today we're talking about what 2025 taught us about buying a home in 2026, specifically here in Raleigh, and how to use that insight right now. But before we get into it, let me make the legal team happy. I am Kevin Martini, certified mortgage advisor and producing branch manager, NMLS 143962, with the Martini Mortgage Group at Gold Star Mortgage Financial Group Corporation, NMLS 3446, equal housing lender. This podcast is for education purposes only and is not legal or tax advice. All right, now let's talk. Every January, I hear the exact same sentence. We're serious about buying this year. We haven't really started yet. And I get it. January feels like a clean slate, a reset, a fresh calendar. But in Raleigh real estate, waiting until you feel official is usually the most expensive delay you can make. Because here's the truth. By the time home buyers feel ready, the market has already moved. 2025 wasn't dramatic. There was no crash. There was no collapse. There was no massive correction. What we saw instead was something more important. Homes took longer to sell. Sellers became realistic again. Negotiation returned to the table. Incentives resurfaced. Buyers finally have breathing room. In other words, leverage shift. And leverage doesn't come with sirens and headlines. It shows up very quietly, then disappears just as fast when demand wakes back up. One thing that 2025 reminds us of is the fact that Raleigh is not a market that shuts down. It's a market that reshuffles. Even with higher rates, people kept moving here. Jobs kept coming. Universities kept expanding. Healthcare kept growing. Demand did not disappear. It waited. And now, that's where we're in 2026. The waiting period is ending. Right now, there are two types of home buyers entering this year. The first group is hopeful. They've watched the rates, they scanned the listings, and they're waiting for confirmation that it's safe to move. Then there's the second group. They're strategic. They use 2025 to get payment clarity, clean up their credit early, understand real affordability, strengthen their approval, and define what actually fits their life. And here's the difference. When opportunity shows up, hopeful buyers hesitate. Strategic home buyers choose. Most people think that timing the market means predicting the future. It does not, folks. Timing the market means positioning yourself so you're ready when the future shows up. That's the lesson 2025 taught us. The buyers who prepared last year aren't guessing in 2026. They're calm. They're flexible. and they're not making emotional decisions under pressure. Yes, Raleigh mortgage rates matter, but they don't matter as much as people think. Because when rates improve even slightly, in a market like Raleigh, demand comes back turbo fast. And when demand comes back fast, leverage disappears even faster. That's why waiting for perfect rates without a plan usually backfires. You don't need perfect timing. You need options. If buying a home is part of your 2026 plan, here's what matters and what doesn't. You don't need 20% down. You don't need perfect credit. You don't need to rush, nor do you need to guess. What you need is payment clarity. What fits your life, not just what the bank approves you. What you need is approval strength, so you're negotiating from certainty, not hope. What you need is flexibility, so you can act when the right opportunity appears. And most importantly, you need a plan that matches your life, not the headlines. Urgency is what happens when you're forced to act. Preparation is what allows you to choose. At the Martini Mortgage Group, everything we do is built around preparation first. That's why we don't ask, are you ready to buy right now? We ask, what does your life need to look like when you do? And it's why we use tools like our same as cash mortgage approval. So when you do find the right home, your offer carries weight, confidence, and most importantly, certainty. That's how you stay calm in a competitive market. Now that we're officially in 2026, the question isn't whether the market will move. Spoiler alert, it will. The real question is, will you be positioned when it does? Because the Raleigh market doesn't reward hesitation. It rewards clarity. If buying a home is part of your 2026 plan, even if it's months away, the smartest move you can make is starting with clarity. Not pressure, not commitment, just a conversation. I'm inviting you to schedule a complimentary and confidential call with me. We'll talk about where the Raleigh market is right now, what options you have, what options are the right ones for you, and how to move through 2026 with confidence instead of second guessing. If you'd rather reach out to me directly, just pick up the phone and dial 919-238-4934 and ask for me, Kevin Martini. In closing, 2025 already showed us how this cycle works. The buyers who are prepared early didn't feel lucky, they felt ready. And in Raleigh, readiness is power. If this episode brought you some value, please share it with someone who quietly is thinking about buying but doesn't know where to start. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Until next time, stay clear, stay confident, and remember, clarity creates certainty, and certainty always creates power.